I know what you've been told, that people buy from people that they like. That's a lie in 2026. The SAP case study proved that when they switched to the challenger methodology, they closed $51 million in extra revenue. The moment you stop trying to be their friend and start diagnosing their pain, your authority and your fees skyrocket. Listen, if you want to close high-ticket deals in 2026, you have to stop selling. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if you're still cold calling, advertising, emailing, diving into DMs, if you're battling objections, or if you're spending weeks trying to build relationships, there's a likelihood you're actually hurting your close rate. We've looked at the data, and the modern buyer doesn't want a new friend, they want a diagnosis. Here's the reality. The moment you try to convince someone, you lose. But the moment you start diagnosing them, your authority shoots to the moon. So in this video, I want to share with you the Peddler Frame. It's the exact psychological shift that allows introverts to outperform extroverts without ever making a cold call. Because I get it. I used to hate sales. I thought it meant being loud and pushy and manipulative. I thought I had to trick people into buying things that they didn't need. It just felt gross. But the data shows that feeling was actually right. Top performers aren't the loud ones. They're the thinkers. So I want to walk you through 3 psychological shifts you need to make today. We're going to move you from peddler to the challenger and finally into the doctor. So let's talk about the first shift. I call this the nice guy trap. Most people think sales is about being liked. You take them to lunch, you ask about their kids, and you try to be their friend. We call this the relationship builder model. And honestly, it's a disaster. There was a massive study done on this called the Challenger Sale. They profiled thousands of sales reps, and they found that among the top performers, the top 1%, only 7% used a relationship building style. It was actually the worst performing profile. So who won? The challenger. 54% of top performers fit this profile. When SAP implemented this methodology, they attributed $51 million in closed business to this shift alone. So here's the lesson. Stop trying to be liked. Start trying to be respected. The challenger teaches. They push back gently. They tell the client where they're going wrong. Because friends listen, but experts lead. Now, being an expert isn't enough. If the client still sees you as a salesperson, you need to change the uniform you're wearing. This brings us to shift number 2, the authority bias, or what I like to call the Peddler Frame. Think about this for a second. When a salesperson names a price, the client negotiates. But when a doctor names a price, the patient pays. Why is that? It comes down to authority bias. In the famous Milgram experiments, 65% of subjects, hear that again, 65% of subjects were willing to do something they normally wouldn't do, simply because a man in a lab coat told them to do it. We're wired to listen to authority. Think about it. Doctors do not handle objections. If a doctor tells you that you have high blood pressure, you don't say, I'm going to think about it. You ask for the prescription. So here's what that means for you. Objection handling is usually a symptom of a failed diagnosis. If you're battling objections, it means you're still selling. When you diagnose a pain clearly, the price becomes irrelevant. But here's the thing. A doctor cannot help a patient who doesn't walk into the office. You cannot diagnose an empty room. And that leads us to the third piece, the cold call delusion. You might be calling people who simply aren't ready. You're trying to force a decision on a stranger. This creates the conviction gap. And the more you try to convince, the more they resist. Google calls this the 0 moment of truth. And the research is fascinating. It shows that 80% of B2B buyers initiate contact only after they are 70% of the way through their buying journey. They already have done the research. So look at the numbers. If you catch them inbound when they come to you, the close rate is 14.6%. But if you chase them outbound cold calling, the close rate drops to 1.7%. That's an 8.6x conversion advantage just by letting them do their homework first. So here's the takeaway. Your content is your sales force. Your videos, your articles, your posts. That's the persuasion. By the time they get on a call with you, they shouldn't be asking, why should I hire you? They should be asking, do you have space for me? My goal isn't just to help you publish a book. My goal is to help you build a marketing asset that pays for itself. But that asset only works if it rests on the right psychology. If you write your book trying to convince the reader, you will fail. The data shows that high-ticket clients do not want to be sold. They want to be diagnosed. And that's why you want to watch this next video. I break down exactly how to swap the salesman mindset for the Peddler Frame. So your book acts like a prescription instead of a brochure. You'll see why this shift is the only way to get whale clients to respect your authority before they ever get on the phone.